usually what happens after the bubble bursts, you see contraction of the industry, and then you see this steady productivity growth.
The current landscape that we're in, and maybe it's because we're insiders, I would not start a startup in this landscape because it's so tough. Me personally, right? Like, I'm not saying that I think a lot of people should.
I mean, there's two good things about this. So you actually just mentioned it. The way you retain that is by building strong communities and eliciting strong network effects that, one, reinforce your revenues by recommendations, word of mouth, and basically your users becoming your fans and attracting even more users by sharing it, engaging, and like basically becoming like brand advocates. And networks create lock-in effects, right? So if you start building on one network, you most likely won't shift after 6 months because the switching cost would be too high. So it sort of like also creates a natural lock-in. The other good thing is that while Gen AI creates so much noise and moves so fast, which makes it hard to sustain a lot of competitive advantages or modes, it also enables you to be a lot more efficient in building. So I think and Sam Altman said that we will see unicorns with one person, like one founder, one person unicorns. I disagree with that statement personally, not because I want to disagree with Sam, but I feel like there is more to building a long-lasting company than just having a product that is then like basically developed, driven, and whatever by AI. But maybe I'm just too short-sighted on that one. Point being, though, is he has a very valid point in that companies can run a lot leaner and more efficient and faster, supported by AI agents and by automating tedious tasks that didn't really contribute to the core value of a product using AI. And I think that's a strong narrative, and maybe partly one of the reasons why we're seeing these mass layoffs in tech right now, because sort of like even the big hyperscalers are preparing for that moment, right?
Yeah. My take is if everything's moving towards automation, lean the other way. Your edge is the other way. It's the other direction. So, it's no longer manpower. I don't have more men in my army. That doesn't matter anymore. What matters is then quality people that can then activate on what it is you're doing. So, bigger karma bank, deliver more value to your community, generate more goodwill, put your face out there and help more people genuinely get involved and give of yourself to help people succeed. That's where I think the edge is. Like, what value is your product actually bringing? And then, of course, speed. I think it's a fast market. Be fast, I think, is the other thing. Like, I think Sebastian had a great point. Switching costs, churn, whatever nomenclature you want to use, are really low, right? Like, there's no longer just Netflix. There's Disney Plus, there's Paramount, there's HBO. Like, what do I want to watch right now? Okay, it's on Amazon Prime. I'm going to buy that for $5. It's the same sort of thing. Like, you now have options in a world where you had to have massive infrastructure to build a project, whereas now, call someone up like Thomas to build a POV rapidly, and you've got a product. It's like you're ultimately you're trying to find the edge. So I think it's have a great team of people behind you who are helping you back that, your network and their network. If you genuinely help them, these things compound. Have a karma bank of people that, referring back to episode 1 when we were talking to we were talking to Tim, karma bank, like, do enough good in the world, some good will come back to you, hopefully. And genuinely network as much as you can. Like, I always refer back to the old school stuff. Maybe that's because I'm old, short-sighted.
You're not that old, Charlie.
Yeah. I was going to say old-sighted, but that didn't quite work, but short-sighted, right? Like, to me, I think that's where I think people have to remember, even though like AI can do stuff quickly, is you haven't spent 15 years learning how to be an accountant. You haven't spent 15 years learning how to be a lawyer, 15, 20 years at the top of the game. Sure, you can write some prompts, but you still got to know the question to ask it.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to learn all of the stuff that you're going to need to know you're going to need to know what the questions are for it to generate something.
And that's, I think, the point, because I think it's the layers in between the expertise that AI is really good at making efficient and actually retain value, right? So at my previous company, these guys built an I don't know, really, really great AI solution, and you should check it out. Actually, I don't think you can, because it's mostly, I think they're mostly using it internal. But it was for building project plans and sales plans for projects, leads that came in, and how they built the agents in the back end was like, they saved I think 2-3 weeks of sales just by utilizing the right agents, which is super valuable. What was the agent writing the project plans? No, but it was getting all the information and summarizing it so that a human that was an expert actually could write these project plans better. And I think that is value. But to both of your points, and maybe I'm playing a little bit devil's advocate, I think community is super important in retaining that value. But if you look at AI, it doesn't have communities, right? So Gen AI doesn't have communities. Old school data science doesn't have communities. It has customers. And even if you have communities in emerging tech like blockchain, most likely, I mean, and I'm maybe just saying something, and the listeners can just attack me on this one, but I think that the value that your community brings is adoption in your industry, with your users, but it doesn't get you to paying customers. I have a theory that most crypto enthusiasts are not using not using the products that they're looking at. They're hyped for a company for the tech, but they're not always using it. And Liam, if you're listening to this, Liam, our co-host, he is using all the new tech, which is really, really great. But I think that he is at a disadvantage. Most users are not like him. They're most likely more like us three, right? Yes, we use MetaMask. Why do we use MetaMask? Because we want to buy, a token, right? Do we really care about consensus? No. Is there a community around MetaMask? Probably. Will they bring more partnerships in? Probably not. Do they count for the numbers that bring more partnership? Yes. So it's a bit like what I'm trying to say here is that on one hand you have an industry that has a large community but has never, I think, fully adopted a mainstream or mass adoption. And I'm not saying it's not coming. I think it's definitely coming. On the other hand, you have Gen AI that very quickly got into mainstream adoption, and obviously it got commercialized really quickly over the last 2 years, 2-3 years. And of course, AI is here for a long time with no community. So, and then on both sides, how do you retain that value? Because on the crypto side, I think there's a lot of value that's not properly coming out, and on the AI side, I think there's a lot of value that's coming out, but that's not going to be valuable in the next 6 months because the first mover advantage is sometimes I think not even existing in Gen AI land because it moves so fast. So where do you sit? Where do you go in this landscape, right? And again, devil's advocate, right? So you just might say, Thomas, you're talking out of your ass right now. You should stop talking right now. But that's my perspective.
I think Charlie and I were both waiting for the right moment to say that. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Worth it.
You totally worth it. Now you got a great point there. And while I wouldn't necessarily agree with all those statements, there's a lot of valid points in there, and there's a couple of interesting points as well when you compare Gen AI to crypto and in hype cycles. So usually what you see a bubble expanding, and yes, I called it a bubble. Crucify me for it. But usually what happens after the bubble bursts, you see contraction of the industry, and then you see this steady productivity growth. Same thing happened with the internet at the .com bubble. Same thing happened in the crypto industry, 2017. I remember there was literally a new Ethereum killer coming out every week, right? None of them actually managed to live up to that claim, but it's the same with Gen AI. Realistically, large language models, there was a new GPT killer coming out last year pretty much every month, right? We have this great new infrastructure. Look where they are right now. But I think On the large language model side, we now see the contraction of like closed source and open source, and we're going to reach that plateau of productivity. We are not there yet with Gen AI apps. I think that is way too bloated, and quite frankly, unfortunately, crypto got into this bloated state again. I don't have the numbers right now, didn't check it before this call, but I think we have over 20,000 different crypto tokens. So
yeah, it's still around that same time of a number. Like it always kind of contracts and then expands back to 22K, something like that.
Yeah, and that's way too much, because I would agree. I would argue that probably 90%, 95% of them absolutely do not like have a sustainable business model. Again, crucify me for that statement, but just the last 7 years have shown me that a lot of them live on their community and the tribalism, which is great. Great to have strong community, but you are absolutely right. You have to be able to create that jump from the community to real customers. Like, exactly. And customers also have to come without the community. While your community can help you find customers and can bring down your customer acquisition costs, still, your product will only succeed and survive if you are able to attract customers outside of your community. Because at some point, otherwise, your customer base will be very limited, and it's going to be hard to expand further. And if I think about it, you made a very good point there. If I think about the products that I'm using day in, day out, I like Android. I have a Samsung smartphone. For work, I use an iPhone. I use them every day. I'm a happy user of the products. Am I active in any of those communities? Absolutely not. And like same thing with ChatGPT. Actually, there I am active in the community. I'm building my own GPTs. I'm like looking into the developer forums all the time. But there is an interesting dynamic there too. Did you know that we have like over 3 million GPTs at this point? Right? Like this marketplace of ChatGPT, there's over 3 million right now. And I took fun in like reverse engineering some of them and like going in and basically like prompt injecting them to like see the instructions. 90 to 95% of them are shit coins in crypto terms. Like they literally have instructions that are like 5 sentences that literally all of us could do in like 5 to 10 minutes if we like put our mind to like creating this GPT. Yeah. So there's literally no USP, no moat, no nothing. Yet they are still number one in the GPT store for their respective verticals. So it begs the question, why, right? Brings me back to distribution mode, because they figured out an extremely smart way to position their GPT and get everyone to use it.